Well, welcome back, everyone. Beginning of the year, and I want to remind you of an organization right in Saratoga County called Wellspring. It's an organization devoted to helping individuals and families in crisis. And a frequent guest is the executive director who's sitting right here, Maggie Fronk. So hi, Maggie.
Hello, it's always a pleasure to be here talking about important stuff with you.
You know what? You can talk about anything. I love having you here. So welcome again. Nice to have you here. I asked Maggie to come in because just recently we had one of the big events in Saratoga, the Bartenders Ball, and Wellspring is a recipient of the money that they raise. So let's just follow this just for a second. Let's tell our viewers, in case they don't know, what is Wellspring?
We are the domestic violence and sexual assault resource in our community. So we provide crisis and support services and prevention activities.
I got you. Now, for those of you who don't know, say it's a woman, most frequently a woman, although it happens to men as well, right?
Absolutely.
But women and young children in crisis, they're in an abused situation at home. They don't have anywhere to turn. They're afraid to leave. They're embarrassed. They don't know exactly what to do. That's what Wellspring is there for.
We're there for that person in crisis. We're also there way before the crisis to help with anybody who may need it.
Oh, you want to know something? Let's talk about that now, because I had that in my notes to talk about. That, you know, if you think about the situation, or you know someone that's been in the situation, that you don't want to admit it up front, right? You might be, like I said, you might be embarrassed by it. You might not know what to do. You might not know what resources there are. So what are some of the early signs, as obvious as that might sound, what are some of the early signs and how do you try to engage those families and those individuals?
Okay, I think one of the really hard things is some of the early signs can also look like the early signs of love. So somebody being very jealous when you're around other people. You're so beautiful and I don't like them talking to you, or let's spend all our time together and not with your family. Maybe calling you all the time. So what do you do? And I was just thinking of you. Those can be normal signs of love, but then they can also be very early red flags sometimes for the early stages of abuse.
Boy, I bet. What happens when it starts to turn ugly?
That's where I think people start damping it down and kind of making excuses, that feeling they have in their gut, kind of saying, no, that's not what it is, and forgiving. And sometimes what happens is the situation can get very abusive before somebody realizes, I'm trapped in this.
Yes, right. I think trapped is really the operative word in that sentence, right?
Yes.
Because if you feel trapped, you may think there's no escape.
That's right.
When in reality, there is an escape. You see so much of this. Interesting statistic. I was asking Maggie that the shelter is located in Saratoga County, confidential address, as you might imagine, and they have 9 beds, and they had 2,800 people this past year.
2,800 bed nights
Yes.
of emergency shelter, yep, which was the highest, record high the last 4 years, every year more need than the year before.
Is there anything obvious about that statistic? It seems to me, has something happened in the last 4 years that seems to be contributing to the overriding problem?
You know, people ask me that, and statistics are tough. Is there more abuse? Is there better awareness? Are people coming forward and getting help that didn't used to come forward? I wish I knew the answers to those.
Right.
Crime may be going up, but is that because there's actually more crime happening, or because people are calling the police? Don't know which it is.
Well, actually, I think that's a very important point to make, that, you know, it may be the reporting is getting better. You know, you try to look for a silver lining in this, and it, quite honestly, probably doesn't exist. But whatever the reason is, Wellspring, as an organization, is providing these services. The word is out about this being the place to go if you're having this kind of problem, so the demands on this organization are becoming greater and greater. I started off by talking about the Bartenders Ball. That's a big one. You were there, of course.
I was there, yeah.
I bet. Now, they raise an enormous amount of money. The other recipient for, did you tell me something like 7 or 8 years?
8 years. We have been fortunate. The hospitality committee has chosen us as a recipient.
Right. I was talking to John Baker, who owns Gaffney's, about this a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that, you know, the Wellspring is just such a worthwhile organization. How much did they raise, Meg?
More than $25,000 this year, and in total in those 8 years, more than $175,000 to support Wellspring. And over the 19 years, they've raised way more than $500,000 to help local nonprofits.
Wow. $25,000, of course, sounds like a lot of money. It is, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to the needs that Wellspring has to address. That money it's pretty much infrastructure, right?
Yeah, the bartender's ball money is dedicated to capital improvements, primarily at our shelter, so that we can provide better services to help families in need.
And those services, by the way, can be everything from the furnace breaking, right? For painting, for making sure that the bed's there. Now, that $25,000, of course, is a wonderful foundation, but they always need funds. And not only funds, but you were mentioning other ways that people could help too, right?
Sure, we have volunteer opportunities, but also one great way that people can help. We have prevention programs, we have awareness programs. Be our link to getting them into your faith organization, your workplace, because our goal is to engage our whole community so we can end relationship and sexual abuse. So we're there to help you learn the warning signs, learn what you can do. All our services are free. Ask us in, and we can work with you on how you can be an advocate for change.
You know what? To sum this up, it's all about early intervention. Wherever that is possible, that's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
The sooner you recognize the problem and the sooner you decide to do something about the problem, the sooner that problem will be taken care of. And in this particular situation, it involves individuals, and of course it involves family and children.
Yes.
So, you know, I doubt that there's anything more important than that, Mag. So wonderful to see you again. Happy New Year to you.
Always, you too.
And we'll have you in because I know that this year Wellspring has got some plans to expand. So as those plans become developed, you let us know, and we'll have you back here again to talk about it.
Terrific.
Good.
Thanks.
Great to see you, Meg.
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.